Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 2 in a series between Liquid Hero versus Evil Genius's Puma here on Antigua Shipyard. And this is going to be close spawns here, no cross spawns. That means that they did not force cross spawns on this map. And taking a look at this matchup and this map, I think Hero has a little bit of an advantage. The third base for Hero is going to be much easier to defend for Hero. Meanwhile, Puma is not going to really be able to establish his third base nearly as easily, as there are destructible rocks leading straight into this base. For him to easily establish a third, he is going to have to try to take this as his third and also take down these rocks as well. So if this game does go long into three bases specifically, Hero is going to have a much more concise army. He's not going to be nearly as spread out as Puma on this matchup. Now, we see Puma opening up with the front door supply depot. Most likely will be building a barracks right behind it. Pretty standard build coming in from Puma so far. Actually, I take that back. Going for a gas first. So going for gas first, and kind of curious as to why he got his gas as late as he did. He could have easily gotten his gas around 11 as opposed to getting it at 12 without hurting his SCV count, I believe. Meanwhile, back over here, we see Hero, who is just currently chrono boosting out and training up a lot of probes. And what is he doing? You see 200, he may be going for a 16 or 17 Nexus, which would be come as an absolute shock to me, as that would be a very fast expansion, and Hero is going to be able to just get a very strong economy going, and that does look like the opening that Hero is going for, and I do not believe Puma will really be able to punish it, as he did delay his barracks and now will only be able to get into a factory. And by the time the factory is up, perhaps there will be some static defense, some sentries, or some cannons trying to protect that natural expansion. Probe now making its rounds will quickly scout out in the counterclockwise direction, find that his opponent is not there, and then he has to like his choices now, knowing that his opponent is not counterclockwise from him. He either knows that it is going to be full cross spawns, which is good for a fast expansion, or that his opponent's third base is not is going to be very, very close to him as well, and he's going to be able to abuse that. We'll see what Hero will be going for in just a moment. We are going into a gateway and an assimilator. And it looks like, yes, there was another pause in between these players once more, just trying to get this game underway. It looks like it will be a reactor Hellion opening, and I take it back. Puma looks like he should be able to train up 2 Hellions, maybe even 4 Hellions, well before the 6-minute mark, and Hero's not going to have very much in order to defend this. What Hero could do is he could pull off all of his probes, just use this Nexus for chrono boost, and those Hellions will not be able to deal that much damage until 2 or 3 Stalkers do make their way out. You can see Hellions are now being trained, but there is currently no scouting coming in from Hero, so Hero is going to have a very difficult time, or sorry, no scouting from Puma, so Puma's going to have a very difficult time trying to figure out where his opponent is. Hero now coming up the ramp, will see the reactor Hellions on the front door. 2 Hellions now making their way out, and where are those Hellions going? The Hellions now making their rounds, and it looks like it is going to be scouting out down over here, as the SCV was scouted, but he did scout out this one particular Nexus, and that is huge. These probes are all going to have a very bad day. Hellion's going to be able to make their way up the ramp, but there is a Stalker out already, as those probes need to be very careful. One probe may get taken down, and the probes joining in on the fight. 3 worker kills so far. It looks like another worker kill there, and down goes that Hellion. So losing 2 Hellions for 4 probes, a very cost-effective trade, as Hero now going to be able to chrono boost off of 2 Nexuses and get a very strong economic advantage. Currently sitting at 35 over 36 compared to 29 over 35. Zealot and Stalker now making their way across the map. It looks like a proxy pylon will be coming in. Warp gate tech about to finish there, as the Marines able to push back onto the Stalker. The Stalker does not want to really try to charge up that ramp, as we are going to be getting a bunker up on that high ground. A bunker on the high ground. Zealots, oh, this is not looking good. The Zealot's going to try to push back against there. Not good at all. Zealot quickly taken down, as the Stalkers know that they really cannot force their way up at all. We are going into massive barracks. Hero now training, or Hero sitting at 42/52, going into a robotics facility. An Immortal will not be able to bust that either, and I believe that the range over here is more than 6, as the factory will quickly scout out this proxy pylon here, and we'll see what's going to come down, whether or not this pylon will make any true difference whatsoever. Yeah, I believe that the ground distance, even though it looks close, is not really that close. Another bunker being added. Sentries going after the factory. The factory may get taken down, and that's going to be really, really hard for Puma, as Puma needs to create more starports. He does not have a starport yet, and if he loses this factory, that is going to be really, really bad news. Already down to 500 hit points, down to 530. Is it enough to catch on fire? No, not enough, and it is not going to be burning at all. Not at 1/3 of its life. It needs to be, I think, down to 417. But Puma, if he's not careful, may end up losing this factory, as there is a pylon here, and then a quick warp in would be all it would take. Stalkers could be warping in right underneath it here in just a moment. There are Stalkers, Zealots, and Sentries off over here, and we'll see what's going to be happening. An Observer now making its way in the robotics facility. In comes 1 Stalker, 2 Stalkers. Is it going to be enough to actually get some damage? Yes, 1, 2. I think it needs to get down to 425, and yes, it is now on fire. Puma going to lose this factory, but he is starting his starport already. Only going to be able to build 1 starport. That may set him back for the Viking and medevac production. He needs a reactor on there. This factory very low on hit points already, as we now see the Observers still just flying around. The bunker, I thought I heard a bunker being salvaged, but it may have been a building just being canceled, as Marauders and Marines are still on this front door, and now Stim is currently being researched. The engineering bay, the starport now, is it adding a reactor? I'm not quite sure. Yes, it is going to be adding a reactor there, but the robotics bay is already completed, and now we need to see the extended thermal lance range started. If Hero is able to engage against all of these bunkers with the extended thermal lance range, that's going to be very bad news, as Puma now finally makes his way out. And here we are moving into a 3-base race, as Hero has a slight advantage, knowing that he's able to establish his 3rd base before his opponent. Another Colossus now being added. Still kind of unsure about Hero not going for the extended thermal lance range. He is going for hallucination though. So going for hallucination, and perhaps he's going to have hallucinated Colossi to try to eat up a lot of the damage, and that is going to be huge, especially as we are now going into gateways and a lot of them. The Marines and the Marauders do not have Stim just quite yet. They should have it before any true engagement does go down. The Stalkers and the Sentries, what is going to happen here? The Colossus now making their way up onto the high ground. Only 1 Colossus, and that is 1 very expensive Colossus to build the robotics facility, the robotics bay, and all just for 1 Colossus. Diminishing, really want to train up even more. Yeah, the robotics bay not even getting extended thermal lance range just quite yet, as a medevac now doing a bit of a drop. The Stalkers may be able to intercept this drop, and that would be huge, as the Stalkers, the medevacs were very smart, deciding not to engage their Observer right here. The medevac's going to unload and make sure that nothing is really going on at all, and now just simply trying to move around. There's the force fields, being able to just keep and separate the army here. Puma now looking to do a drop. There are 2 Stalkers back over here. That is not going to be enough to really intercept it. There are Sentries and Stalkers over here. Will Hero be able to fend off this attack, as the medevacs now making their way in? More Stalkers are now in position. Hero has enough to really fight this back, and now in comes a drop. No, Puma very smart, knowing that they need to back off, finally backing off from that engagement. We are now up to 2 hallucinated Colossi, plus 1 Colossus, as the units are now still making their way out. Medevac going to get destroyed over here. Observer now flying straight into the detection there. Not a very, very good sign at all, as the Zealots are still making their way in. You can see that Puma is trying to establish his all-important 3rd base. Hero already established it. It has been running for quite some time. Marauders and Marines are going to be making their way up, stimming and now attempting to take down this Nexus. The Nexus looks like it will fall, but what is going to happen to all these Marines that are up on the high ground? And this is going to be very, very bad here. Colossus now engaging the Marauders and the Marines. There's the force fields, and now the hallucination. There's only 1 Colossus left. Massive number of force fields, as the Zealots and all those units are engaging. Hero still without the extended thermal lance range, still trying to engage off over here, and it looks like this entire attacking force will get destroyed. Hero coming out slightly ahead, and now backing off with all of those units here. 2 medevacs now. Looks like they will be retreating and returning home. We are going into Psystorm as well. We are only 14 minutes into this game. This game feels like it's been going on for a very long time already before that first very large major clash. And we'll see how these players continue to play the rest of this matchup. Zealots, sentries, and the medevac did spot the sentries in here. That one Colossus there as well. And still not getting extended thermal lance range. That is a rather curious choice of units, only opting to go for one Colossus in this group. I think he was trying to bait his opponent into going into a lot of Vikings, and there just simply wasn't that many at all. Marauders and Marines in this group over here. 2 Vikings in the air. Zealots now making their way down after trying to go up against that planetary fortress. Doesn't want to engage there, as the medevacs may be trying to go for another far drop. A Zealot is on patrol, making sure that there is no command center in any of these 3 locations here, as the sentries, Zealots, Stalkers are now doing a large push into this 3rd base here. The Colossus still does not have extended thermal lance range, but the planetary fortress doesn't matter. It doesn't even need the +1 range, has a range of 6, as those Zealots, sentries, and Stalkers are finally pulling back once again. Observer hiding off over here. You can see level 1 weapons upgrade finally being researched by Hero. I think it is just a little bit late now. Psystorm now being added, as the High Templars are starting to get their energy. They are going to have Psystorm, and this is going to be a huge battle, as the Stalkers and Zealots are going to try to push in here. Perhaps we are going to have some Psystorm. There's the Force Fields preventing, and now there's the Guardian Shield. There's the Psystorm, as more Psystorm could just rain down and deal a lot of damage onto those units there. And now 1 High Templar may get taken down. There is still 2 High Templars left. These 2 High Templars perhaps should try to merge into an Archon in just a moment, as this Archon is now ready. And now it is 2 bases versus 2 Stalkers blinking onto the low ground. There is a large group of units in a nice ball over here. The Colossus wants to get in there, wants to try to engage, but the Nexus has been taken down. The Archon perhaps could engage as well. The Vikings chasing after the Colossus. The Colossus down to 42 hit points, and all the Vikings were destroyed. And that was a bad chase, but there is a drop now happening off over here. Archon trying to be merged. Does get in a quick attack and finishes off that drop. So Hero now with a slight advantage, now that he is up on bases, and really the spawning locations helping Hero out in this engagement. And now the Colossus has been taken down. Force Field's a little bit late. 2 Archons leading the way, as there are no more Colossi here. There is enough for perhaps some Psystorm, as now the Archons and Zealots are going to finish off this 1 missile turret. The factory going to take a lot of damage, and it looks like the factory may start to get into that critical. Yes, burning damage already, and now Zealots are looking to push in as well. Psystorm may be coming in. Yeah, no Psystorm. Massive snipes now coming back, as without the Psystorm, this Protoss Death Ball does not look nearly as deadly. And now all of these sentries are being forced to retreat once again. Level 1 armor upgrades now being added, more ghosts being added, and I think really Hero has an advantage, but Puma has been playing better. Income, taking a look, you can see a very large income difference, especially if you look into the gas right now. The gas is about triple, or at least double, depending on how you look at all the gas being mined off over here. You can see a Marine going after this pylon. The pylon is currently being warped in, and Zealots should bring in the rear as well. A Zealot now making its way over. Marauder over here, and it looks like a medevac is going to be dropping in over here, as the Zealots, beautiful force fields preventing the units from going up the ramp. And now there is an EMP shockwave, but it hits only a couple units, and those shields will regenerate anyways. SCVs are going to once again try to come back in. The sentries could do the same exact thing once more. There is only 1 pylon. That quickly gets sniped down. Nexus is quickly canceled here. And it is still now just 1 base against 2. As Hero is running off of a lot of bases. There's 1 Colossus still back at home. Extended thermal lance range finally being researched, as this command center gonna get sniped down. EMP Shockwave coming in. SCVs are all bunched together right there. One Archon could have 2 attacked that and taken all of them down. As a Nexus now being warped in the center. Hero just playing the waiting game and hoping to win this game with his superior economy and macro. Income more than double now, as what photon cannons and more pylons being warped in here. Marauders, Marines, and Medivacs, Ghosts just slowly making a bit of a push. Vikings trying to hold the center, not going to be able to do so, as the Marauders are going to finish this off. And now, are we going to have an engagement here? The Nexus is off over here. The Ghosts are not quite within range. More Ghosts are still being added. But with the extended thermal lance range, those Marauders and Marines are going to have a much more difficult time, as the additional range is really going to help. 5 Archons, 2 Colossi, and Ghosts going after the Stalkers. The Stalkers, EMP Shockwave now. Lots of EMP Shockwave coming in. Raining EMP. Photon cannons coming in. And another very expensive Ghost getting taken down. Archons, a Colossus getting caught in transit. Too many Archons to really deal with here. The Ghost now going to lead the charge over here. No feedback. Massive snipe. The Ghost really leading the way in this engagement so far, as the Colossi, Zealots, Sentries, and Stalkers are back once more. It looks like there's going to be an engagement down over here. Perhaps going to get a bit of a flake. There are a lot of gateways, and those gateways are just creating a very nasty wall. The units are going to simply just try to run by, get into this base. But this is very, very tight quarters, as the Zealots are now charging in. Colossi now coming in, and now Colossi with that extended thermal lance range going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Vikings trying to engage. A Nexus will fall. The Stalkers perhaps going to be able to engage as well. Force fields coming in. And who is coming out? Puma has the larger army now, and it looks like Puma is going to be able to win this fight. He does have a large army, but in comes that Psystorm. In comes all of those losses now. It may be too little too late, as those Ghosts are going to get finished up. You can see a large group of Marauders and Marines. Actually, only just 10 looking to finish off this. Zealots are back over here. The Zealots are going to start charging in, perhaps getting a bit of surround, as we are now running off of only one base here. Who's going to be able to replenish their forces more quickly? It looks like the probes are now just heading straight over to the gold mineral patches to try to mine out and win this battle. Archons, Templars, Colossi, Stalkers now making their way in. One Viking in this group. The Stalkers are now going to be able to push in. A Psystorm could be coming in there. Psystorm now forcing all of those Vikings to run away. Vikings now going into ground mode. Not quite sure. Oh, after the Colossus gets taken down. And there's another Psystorm, unable to really engage. And with no EMP Shockwave, the Archon getting in some easy kills there. SCV is going to get taken down. And Puma played very well in that last engagement. But the constant base denial from Hero is really what's going to give him this game here, as this command center gets taken down, and there's the GG. So Hero winning game 2 in this best of 3 series. Stay tuned for game 3.